Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Milan Hamilton. I am an Assistant Director of Admissions at Duke. I'm also a Duke alumni, class of 2020, so very excited to share with you a little bit about what makes Duke Duke and all of the wonderful things that we have today. You have joined us today for a virtual information session on demand. And so we are super excited to share with you a little bit more about us. Just some housekeeping rules as we continue. I can move to the next screen. Awesome. So Duke welcomes persons with disabilities to participate in all of the programs that we have to offer. If you do or would like to request an accommodation at any time, you are welcome to contact Idella Hackett at idella.hackett@duke.edu or at 919-684-0186 to arrange any kind of accommodations for a later date. Also, please note that recording of any undergraduate admission session is prohibited. We do own the rights to all of the sessions and informational materials that are prepared by our office. With that, though, beyond today, if you would like to learn a little bit more about Duke and all of the wonderful offerings that we have, you're welcome to scan any of the QR codes that you see on the screen. We offer both virtual and in-person programming, and so we welcome students to both of these. And also, please know that you can connect with us via social media as well. You can find us at admissions.duke.edu. And we also have our social media pages at Discover Duke. We primarily use Instagram. We also offer Facebook pages for folks, and we have a TikTok. So lots of ways for you all to connect with us and learn a little bit more about the offerings that we have here. Typically when we do these virtual sessions, we want to be able to answer any questions that students may have. And so when you join us for virtual programs, you're welcome to use the Q&A chat feature to ask any questions that you may have during your presentation. And sometimes we are able to answer those questions live for you, or typically we also have a colleague that will be in the background that could give you a kind of written response to anything. The chat feature is used for any technical errors that may happen. So if for whatever reason you can't hear me or you can't see me or something happens, if I freeze, you're welcome to use the chat feature for that so we can hopefully try to address it as quickly as possible. So going into our program, you're going to see some words kind of flash on the screen here that we really feel like are words that describe what Duke is. These are words that encompass our student body, but also our greater Duke community and the things that make us who we are. Things like spirited, flexible, and also community minded are really some key aspects to who we are and the things that matter to us. We're also celebrating our 100th year. So Duke turns 100th this year in 2024. So we are super excited about that and all of the wonderful things that it means. We are in a lot of ways celebrating the achievements and accomplishments we've been able to have in just a short amount of time. We are a newer school in comparison to our peer institutions. And so all of the things we've been able to do are super important to us. But also, this celebration and this celebration on our 100th year really signifies how new we are and the fact that our Duke students are a part of this process with us. So as a student, when you come to campus, you are going to get to be a part of not only the celebration of our 100th year, but also in helping to kind of create the Duke experience that you yourself would like to see because we are so new. You are really self-crafting Duke as we are growing as an institution. And a lot of the things that we have in place on our campus are largely due to student input. And so as you think about this 100th year and our reflection on where we've come from and where we're going, these are some of the key things that are really kind of on our mind. So, the sense of camaraderie that we have on campus, which is a big reason why, as a student, I chose Duke as the school I wanted to attend, was this camaraderie and school spirit that happens. It starts with our students, and you'll see that in this picture here. There is always a celebration happening on Duke's campus because there is a lot to celebrate. We are a medium sized research institution. And so when you're thinking about the student body, we have just shy of under 7,000 students. And what that means is there are enough students on campus where you're not going to be seeing all of the same faces every single day. If you go to a really small high school, you might know what I'm talking about. But also, our student body is small enough in that you're able to leave Duke having made a lot of meaningful relationships with your peers, with your professors, and other people within the Duke community as well. There are folks that I still talk to this day that work at Duke or were my professors that I maybe go and grab coffee with. And so it's really nice to be able to have that kind of smaller, tight knit community on campus. We also have a really big kind of global community as well. International students make up about 14% of our student body. And so when you come to Duke's campus, it's very likely you're going to be meeting people from all over the world, people that may have grown up a little bit different from you, that bring their own perspectives and experiences to this campus. And these experiences are ones that you can learn from. They're going to be your roommates, they are going to be in your classrooms. And so it's really fun to have that experience where you're meeting people and learning from folks that all kind of come together and share that same Duke Blue Devil spirit. Our campus is also really diverse, and it's something we're really proud of as well. Our students make up all different identities as well. And we have tons of identity centers on campus, which I'll touch on a little bit later, that help serve as spaces for these students alongside student organizations as well. But our undergraduate student body is over 50% of those students identify as students of color. And so, again, it's really important for us to have diversity both in geographic location and thought and ideologies and interests in identities and in backgrounds to kind of come together as a larger student body. That sense of spirit and camaraderie really does start as soon as you arrive on campus and begins when you come to East Campus. So we have two different campuses here at Duke. We have an East Campus and we have a West Campus. Our East Campus is where our first year students live. And so when you come to campus, it's really kind of where you will start and begin your 4-year journey here. You will be here with all 1,700 other students that are just kind of starting out college for the first time. It's a great way to kind of ease that transition into college, which could be a scary feeling for you if you're traveling across state lines or across country lines to go somewhere new. It's really wonderful to have that kind of community building experience in your first year. And we really emphasize community building in your first year. It's as simple as the dining hall on campus in the first year. East Campus is situated in a way that students are forced to eat with tons of other folks. You're not going to find a lot of places for you to have to kind of eat by yourself. Lots of long tables so you can learn and chat with other people that are navigating their first year. But other community building experiences as well. Our orientation program is something that is strong, and we've kind of given it a slight upgrade as well. So we have 21 different orientation projects that students can choose from that they are then assigned to, and they get to spend a few days after they've moved in, really learning and creating a sense of belonging and community with peers that are like-minded. They share, some kind of interest together based on the choices that they made. Projects like Project Arts, they usually get involved in the arts on campus and create some kind of project at the end of their few days. Project Citizen is a popular one where students are able to go up to DC for a day. They hear from alumni that are working on the Hill. and learn about what it means to be a model citizen. We've got Project Farm to Table. Those students are able to work with our campus farm and learn about growing healthy foods and cooking those foods, and tons of other projects. I mean, Project Play, Project Wild, they go backpacking in the forest. Project Waves, are students are on the beach, but also more academic programs as well, like Project Search, and Project Discover, which have a lot of research kind of embedded into those programs. So there's lots of ways for students to do that, and they have smaller cohorts. So you are getting to meet people in your first days on campus and really build a sense of community with folks really early. In addition to that, we've also got some fun things happening on East Campus, like carnivals that happen. The activities fair every year happens on East Campus. And we've got a midnight breakfast that is a super fun tradition on our campus, where students get to swipe into Marketplace, which is that East Campus dining hall, late at night, and breakfast is served for them. It's a really hot commodity. As a upperclassmen, you really miss those midnight breakfasts during finals week, but lots of fun things that happen. The last thing I want to touch on for East Campus is its positionality kind of in space. So our East Campus is also the closest campus to downtown Durham, where we're located. East Campus is right alongside our 9th Street, which is a street full of shops and has banks, grocery stores, cafes, and kind of anything you might need. So as a first year student, you have a lot of access and walking access to get to some other fun locations in Durham. We also have ways for students in their first year to start building relationships with faculty members really early on. And there's actually a faculty member that lives in every single first year dorm. And they are not there to be scary in any way or to be any kind of real authoritative figure, but just another friendly face in a way to get to know them beyond the kind of academic bounds. So sometimes faculty members will open up their homes to students and welcome speakers to campus, or cook food for them. My faculty and residents would bake us brownies every Tuesday, as we lived in Brown Dorm, and so it was really fitting in the name. But lots of fun ways, again, to engage with your peers and engage with faculty in your first year. So, talk a little bit about West as well. You'll move to West Campus as a sophomore student, and we do have a residential requirement. So, we require that students live on campus in their first 3 years here. So, in your first year, you'd live on East, and that second and third year, you would live somewhere on West Campus. And then in your last year, you can opt to live off of campus somewhere in Durham if you'd like. But West Campus definitely is kind of the heartbeat of campus. So, when thinking about our two campuses, they're only about 5 to 10 minutes of a drive apart. It's a quick shuttle bus that we have that takes students to and from both campuses every 5 minutes. It's very, very quick. So you're never going to feel isolated on one campus or the other. I will say that East Campus also does offer some space for certain departments. They have their kind of home base on East Campus. So even if you live somewhere on West, it's likely you'll be taking classes all 4 years on both campuses, and you'll be going to and from. But West Campus is that campus you've probably seen in photos. It has the famous stones on our campus. Looks a little bit like Hogwarts. A wonderful place to be. And what you're looking at right now is kind of our main walkway and main central plaza on campus. Right there in the back is our Bryan Center, which is a huge student center. It has our Duke store. It has a really nice cafe and a bunch of identity centers within that building. To the right, this glass building that you're looking at is our new kind of state-of-the-art dining facility. It operates a little bit more like a food hall than your kind of traditional dining hall. It has, I think, over 13 dining spots just within that building. It's 3 stories. And so you're really able to choose the food that makes the most sense for you that day. Typically, students will make a lap just to see what it is they want to eat that day, but there's a lot of options available in the Broadhead Center, which is its name. You'll see some dorms kind of up front here next to us. And then in the back by that purple light is a big event space that we have. And just past it, what you're not able to see that I do want to touch on is our Wellness Center. And our Wellness Center is another beautiful kind of glass building that we have. It's pretty new on campus and serves as a great space for students There is our student health center that's located in that building, a pharmacy available for students right on that first floor. Our counseling and psychological services are on the third floor of that building. And there's also spaces for students to relax in the Wellness Center. There is a beautiful grand piano that students will use. There are massage chairs, an oasis and Zen garden in the back, and lots of other spaces for students to gather. Here at Duke, we really prioritize wellness on a bunch of different fronts, both proactive and kind of reactive. And so we want students to know that they have spaces to gather, and there are different events that might serve students in the Wellness Center as well to ensure wellness in a bunch of different areas. But this is a little bit more about West. I encourage you, if you're able to, we offer virtual campus tours as well as in-person campus tours. So you can see more photos or get a glimpse of West Campus by either virtually or physically walking our campus. Is a program led by our current tour guides. So you can register for those on our website. And here you will see a picture of a new kind of event that we have for our first year students called Bricks to Stone. So this is where we literally physically walk those students from the bricks of East Campus to the stones of West Campus, kind of signifying their transition onto West Campus. It's through our new residential model called QuadX, where students automatically kind of belong to a specific quad or a set of dorms on West Campus, even in their first year when they're living on East. And these quads have different identities. They've done quad Olympics before to kind of signify their place and their standing. And these quads will have activities as part of them, faculty sponsors that kind of take shape with the quad and the living and learning experience. And ultimately what we're trying to do is to blend the living experiences that students have with the academic and the social experiences. So you can have it all and do it all in kind of just one place. And we really wanted to blend those for students. We even have some things called living and learning communities, LLCs, which offer spaces for small cohorts of students that want to gather around a particular theme. So things like our Smart House for students. We have the Lang Dorm, which is available for students who are interested in learning kind of global languages, and tons of other opportunities for students that want that small cohort experience. But also certain identity centers, like what I mentioned kind of in that first slide that I was with you all. The identity centers serve as spaces for students to gather as well, physical spaces. And these are centers such as the Mary Lou Williams Center for Black Culture, the Freeman Center for Jewish Life, the Center for Sexual and Gender Diversity. We've got the Center for Multicultural Affairs that houses a space for Native students. It houses another space, the base for AAPI students, and La Casa for our Latinx students. We've got the Women's Center, the Catholic Center. So you can see these centers span across religious identities, racial and ethnic identities, and other identities that students will gravitate towards. But they're really great places for students to gather. And oftentimes there are student organizations that work alongside these centers to put different programming on. And of course, there's lots happening on Duke's campus at all times. I mentioned the activities fair that happens on East, which you can see an example of here. There's tons to do and tons available to you on campus. Over 400 student organizations available to students, from pre-professional societies to arts organizations to academic endeavors to service opportunities for students. Whatever it is that you are interested in doing and getting a part of, you absolutely can do it. We also have tons of club sports available for students and intramural sports. These offer a space for students who want to continue their athletic abilities that they've been working towards in their high school years. And so if you're interested in playing a club sport on campus, there are tons available for you to get involved with. They do a dream trip every 4 years as well, where they take those students somewhere, and there's travel incorporated on in those trips, and they get to play around the world with different students, whether it's volleyball or club soccer or club basketball. Tons of ways to get involved there. I will touch a little bit on the arts in that we have our Rubenstein Art Center, which sits on Campus Drive between East and West Campus. Beautiful building with studios. There is a black box theater. There are maker spaces in there, lounge spaces as well. It's where I was pretty much every single day while I was a student, and a radio station as well for students that are want to participate in that. So tons of venues. We have the National Museum of Art, which is right across the street from the Ruby, which is its kind of nickname, and tons of ways for students to get involved. The music department is actually on East Campus as well, like towards the back of campus, and so students can go. There are practice spaces if you'd like to gather, and also student organizations that put on different performances throughout the years for students interested in being involved in the arts in that way. So I can't talk about Duke without talking about Durham, of course. We are located in Durham, North Carolina, and Durham is about halfway. It's about in the center of the state. It's central in that it's about 3 hours from North Carolina's beaches and about 3 hours from its mountains. So you're in a really great location. About 4 hours from DC, which is just north of us. And so it's a great place to be. Durham is foodie, it's artsy, it definitely has a little bit of a smaller town feel in that folks know each other. There are going to be your favorite restaurants that may be mom and pop shops. But also, I'll note that it has the resources and everything available that a big city might have. We are part of the Research Triangle, which makes up Durham, Raleigh, and Chapel Hill. And so, because of that, we've become a hub for research and technology and innovation. And so, tons of companies have chosen to build their kind of East Coast hubs in this area. It's really the number one place where our graduates choose to go, or really stay because of the wealth of opportunities here. And it's continuing to grow. This area is incredibly fast growing. And so there's lots to do here. You'll see the Durham Bulls Stadium in this photo in the corner. We've got the Durham Performing Arts Center that brings tons of musicals and other artists to our area. It's, I think, the number two, one of the most populous venues on campus for these kinds of things. I recently saw Wicked there. I've seen Hamilton there. They've just brought Anne Juliet in the past few weeks as well. So lots available for students in that way. So I do want to touch a little bit on the academic opportunities and possibilities that you have as a student on campus. Our curriculum is incredibly flexible, and we really encourage students to be able to pursue any and everything that they have and want to pursue. You'll find that more than 80% of students that graduate from Duke do so with more than just a major. This could be a major and a minor. It could be a major and a certificate. It could be two majors and a certificate. You can do up to three things. You just cannot triple major. But whatever kind of combination of interests you may have, you are more than welcome to do. As a student, I was a psychology major. I got a minor in education and a certificate in child policy research. So I combined all of my interests together and was able to really easily craft my 4 years in a way that made a lot of sense for me. The flexibility within even every single class on campus is really what allows students to do this. We've got really small class sizes. I think our average class size is around 19 students, and you're really meeting professors closely. That student to faculty ratio is 6 to 1. And the majority of our classes are going to be really small in nature. So there's a lot available to you. I'll touch a little bit more on the flexibility and the wealth of opportunities in the next couple of slides. So when you apply to us, I mentioned, of course, all of these majors and minor offerings that you can find a list of on our website if you're curious about all of those offerings. But you don't need to know exactly what you want to do when you apply to Duke. You will simply apply to either the Trinity College of Arts and Sciences or the Pratt School of Engineering. That's really the only decision that you need to make. And beyond that, our students will not declare their major until the spring semester of their sophomore year. So you are given that first year and a half to really explore the things that are interesting to you. Within the Trinity College of Arts and Sciences, that is really where that liberal arts curriculum has its strength. There are so many pathways available to students. Even students within the same major are not going to take the exact same classes at Duke. The only class that every student has to take is Writing 101. And even within Writing 101, there are a variety of topics for students to choose from. And so you might be in a separate Writing 101 than even your peers based on the interest that you have. Advising is really embedded into everything that we do, which I'll touch on a little bit more. But just know that's the only real decision you have to make. The majority of students find themselves within the Trinity College of Arts and Sciences. You can, again, do any of the three, a combination of the three that you'd like, or two or one, completely up to you, but know that it's definitely possible if you find yourself gravitating towards multiple academic areas. But there's also a way to create your own major if any of the ones that we have to offer don't interest you. And you can do that through Program 2. You would develop your 4-year kind of course of study. You'd get a faculty that would sponsor you, and a committee would approve that major that you've created. And so that's a really great way for students who find themselves wanting to kind of go beyond the offerings in Duke's kind of standard curriculum. We have a new curriculum beginning in the fall of 2025, which is going to really just expand on some of the things we're already doing. We want students to really use that first year and a half to explore. And so in their first year, students will be able to build connections in a specific theme through something called constellations. They will be assigned to a constellation or a theme of study that will have faculty and specific classes. They'd be asked to take a lot of seminar and reflection type classes. They will begin to build a strong foundation in reading and in writing and in speaking as well. And so we want those students to be able to have that foundation before they go and declare their major. They will, of course, still have some of the same requirements that we've always offered, and that we want students to be well-rounded by the time they graduate and have taken a couple of courses in every type of academic area. But these academic areas are really, really broad, and the types of classes you choose to take in that area may be different from someone else. You may be asked to take a natural science, but whether you choose a psychology course, a neuroscience course, or a biology course is completely up to you and how you fulfill that. So more information can be found on the website that you see listed at trinity.duke.edu/new curriculum, new-curriculum, if you're curious about what that may look like and how this might change the flexibility that we have. I think it will really kind of increase that flexibility for students. In the Pratt School of Engineering, this is our second school, and you will have to apply to the Pratt School of Engineering if you are interested in engineering in any way. We offer multiple majors within Pratt for you to choose from. But again, you have that same flexibility that our Trinity students will have. Our Pratt students are studying abroad at 10 times the national average, which really shows you that flexibility that's embedded even in the curriculum that they have. And they'll still have the liberal arts curriculum, but with a hands-on engineering component kind of at its core. This hands-on experience starts in a student's first year. Each engineering student or a student that applied through Pratt will be assigned to a first-year design course. And in that first-year design course, they will work with a team in that class to solve some kind of real-world challenge. So they'll be partnered with either a Duke organization or department or some kind of company in Durham to solve a real challenge that they may be having. And so students are able to kind of get their hands dirty immediately in that first year. They usually start gravitating towards a specific type of engineering through this feature as well. And the first year design course is a really great way to have this experience super early on. So that's a little bit about Pratt. You'll see here, again, there is still an interest in students being able to have global connections in Pratt. We want students to have those opportunities. There are 6 majors within Pratt, 3 minors, and 7 certificates. And again, for more information about how you might craft your Duke degree through the Pratt School of Engineering, you definitely can go to pratt.duke.edu and know that if you are within the Pratt School of Engineering, you can also double major across the 2 schools or get a minor across the 2 schools or a certificate across the 2 schools as well. So let's say you've got an interest in civil engineering and you also have an interest in music, you are welcome to do a double major in civil engineering and music, and maybe even tack on a minor in chemistry or something else, whatever you'd like to do. But that option is available and open to you. And again, flexibility is embedded in the Pratt School as well. Tons of majors, I've listed a lot of different things that you can do. You can see there's many different pathways available for students, and you're not going to be alone in figuring out all of these things. Our faculty are wonderful, whether it is office hours or advising. There is advising kind of embedded into everything that we do. We want you to feel supported and figuring out how to navigate your academic journey at Duke. You'll be matched with an academic advisor in your first year. And then when you declare your major in your sophomore year, you'll be paired with a major advisor. That is a faculty in that department that serves as a person for you to not only get help in figuring out those next 2 years, but also post Duke. What will your life look like once you graduate? What opportunities are available for you? What research experience can you get involved in? They are knowledgeable about the field that you are choosing to go into. And so they are there to support you in those ways. We also want students to be able to be involved with faculty beyond just classroom life. And one of our more popular programs is called Flunch. It stands for Faculty Lunch, where Duke will give students money every semester to be able to take their faculty members out to lunch. So that number is $74 a semester. You are welcome to take the same professor out to lunch if you'd like, or choose a different professor each time. You can go on your own or with a group of friends. However you'd like to use that is really up to you, but it's another great way for students to really just be able to engage with the faculty that we have here on campus. So Duke has a commitment when in talking about the things we're thinking about in 2024. We have a commitment to the space that we occupy. Duke is a very green space, and we want to continue to keep it green. There's tons of acreage in the Duke Forest that makes up a big part of our community. And so we're really interested in protecting the space that we have. We are on track to be reaching carbon neutrality this year. It's been a goal that we've had for 2024, and we are on track to being able to do that. And again, reducing the waste and gas emissions that we have on campus. We have an interest in sustainability here at Duke, and there's a new sustainability certificate available to undergraduate students that want to pursue that through the Nicholas School of the Environment. You'll see the changes that we've made in our waste management and in our transportation systems and through other kind of avenues that we have here on campus. But that interest is something that is really, really special to us that we just wanted to kind of touch on. And you'll notice that the Duke Forest is also, it's not just its own kind of green space, but it really is also a living laboratory for research for students as well. Students will use the Duke Forest for all kinds of research, but research can look like different things for different people as well. This picture that you are seeing here is of the Duke Lemur Center. We do have a lemur center on campus that houses the largest collection of lemurs outside of their native habitat, which is in Madagascar. And students will use the lemur center and other avenues on campus to pursue the research that they are interested in. You can begin to get research funding as soon as your first year on Duke's campus, and of course be engaged in research as soon as your first year on campus. We offer research teams through a program called Bass Connections, where students work with an interdisciplinary team that's led by a faculty member, oftentimes has undergraduate students from all kinds of academic interests, grad students, other faculty and other staff as well, to kind of come together and do research on a particular theme of study. A really popular way for students to be engaged in research. And we are a research institution, so all of our students will be engaged in research in some kind of capacity in their 4 years here at Duke, mostly inside of the classroom research, but many of our students choose to take that beyond the classroom and engage in some other kind of ways, like the ways I've mentioned. We spend a lot of money on research every single year, and we really want students to be able to take part in the offerings that are here. There is a huge database that shows students all of the opportunities that they can be involved in. And we typically say there is more research opportunities than there are students to fill those opportunities. So do not be afraid to get involved, whether it's working with the professor in a lab or doing some kind of team-based research or conducting your own independent study for your major. However you'd like to be involved, there are a wealth of opportunities available to you. So I've talked a lot about what's here at Duke, but I do want to take us beyond the walls of campus as well and talk a little bit about our global opportunities. We have tons of study away opportunities available to students, and these programs can be both domestic or outside of the country or abroad. Programs like Duke in Silicon Valley, which has a tech focus. We've got Duke in New York that has a finance track. It's another Duke in New York that has an arts track. And there's tons of programs abroad. I did a study away program in Alicante, Spain. It was a Spanish immersion program, so I took my Spanish classes in Spain for 6 weeks. And was able to live with the host family. But these programs will look very different in scope depending on the one that you choose. Sometimes you are staying in a dorm, and sometimes you are staying in kind of a center on a campus or in a space where you're located. We have Duke In programs, which are going to be kind of your traditional study away programs, where you go with a cohort of Duke students. It's led by a faculty, and you get to obviously study away with other faculty in other locations as well. But we also have a long list of Duke approved programs. If there are programs at other institutions that really interest you, you can get those programs available to you and be approved for those credits to transfer and go off and study the things you want to study. So Duke approved programs are another great way for students. But also, just like with anything else on our campus, you can build your own experience. It is really a build your own adventure over here at Duke. And so if any of the programs, whether it's in the Duke In programs or the Duke approved programs, if they don't interest you and you would like to choose your own kind of program, there are ways to do that. Of course, getting it approved by a committee and having a faculty that helps you and advises you in doing that. It's really, really easy. There's also ways to go away without taking classes or courses, and that's through Duke Engage. It is a 8-week fully funded opportunity for students where they get involved in some kind of civic engagement. We have over 24 programs that all focus on something a little bit different. I chose to do a Duke Engage program in Boston that was focused on child advocacy and education equity. And through Duke Engage, I was partnered with a nonprofit in Boston, as were the 12 other folks in my Duke Engage program. We all worked somewhere differently, and we came back together, had reflection moments. Again, a faculty was there with us, and we were able to do weekly dinners and travel around Boston to different locations. But another kind of really great experience, an immersion experience in a lot of ways, but you can think of Duke Engage as being closer to like a service internship where you're not being paid to be there, but you're able to go and work directly with local organizations. And just like with anything, of course, you can always create your own Duke Engage program as well. If there's an organization that you are really passionate about that you'd really like to work with, you can obviously turn that into a Duke Engage program too. So I talked a lot about the different things available to you on our campus. I do want to touch on the application and the admissions process and some of the things that we look for if you're interested in applying. So there are two main application programs, but we offer three that students may utilize. There's not one that we prefer over the other. The common application, the coalition application, and the QuestBridge application. Choose the one that makes the most sense for you. If you've only heard of one of these or two of these or none of these, then again, you're welcome to choose whichever makes the most sense. The main thing you will want to decide when you do choose to apply to Duke is which notification plan makes the most sense for you and your family. So we offer early decision and regular decision for our first year students. In early decision, you are applying to us by November 4th. You'll hear back from us around mid-December, and that decision plan is going to be binding. So it's our most binding of the options, of the early options that you've maybe heard of. In that you should only be applying to one school early decision. You are basically letting them know that they are your number one choice. And so you are saying to them, you know, if I am admitted to this institution, I am committed to enrolling. So with all other factors aside, you want to make sure that this is a good fit for you, that school is a good fit for you, whether it's an academic fit, a financial fit, a social fit. All things should be considered when making that decision. We do also offer regular decision as well. Through regular decision, you apply to us a little bit later, January 2nd, and you have some time to let us know if you would like to join our incoming class. You'll let us know by May. So you'll hear back around end of March, early April for regular decision, and there is no binding commitment, it is regular. And then transfer, if you are already attending a college, another institution, and you'd like to transfer into Duke, those applications are due a little bit later for students in March, and you hear back from us a little bit later as well. The last kind of main decision you need to make is which of those two schools that you'd like to apply to. Again, the Trinity College of Arts and Sciences or the Pratt School of Engineering. Remember, you do need to pick one, but if you have interests across both, you are welcome to let us know that. But in order to be an engineer, you will need to be in the Pratt School of Engineering. Um, what's required? What are we looking for when you submit your application beyond the main application for those platforms? We are looking at your transcript. We want to see how you're performing academically. We want to see that you're taking rigorous courses and that you're trying to challenge yourself in those courses. So the types of courses that you're involved in are important to us, that you've tried to maximize the availability of classes that your school offers, and how you're performing in those classes also really matters to us. So we are reading you in the context of what's available to you. So whether it's AP, IB, dual enrollment, honors, or none of those, we want to see that you're maximizing whatever is offered and whatever is considered rigorous at your school. Your letters of recommendation are helpful factors in that they come from teachers and tell us a little bit more about you and how you are in the classroom. So get these from professors that know you really well. We require 2 letters of rec from core teachers, and you're welcome to submit an optional letter of recommendation if someone else can speak about something different, whether it's a dance teacher or a separate professor or a mentor or a religious leader or an employer. Those kinds of folks could serve as optional third letters of recommendation, but your 2 main letters are important to us in understanding the type of student that you are in the classroom. These should really come from teachers that have taught you most recently, but ultimately should be teachers that know you the best. Don't feel that you have to choose professors or teachers that are the classes you perform the best in, but rather that are the teachers that know you well. Your extracurricular activities are really important to us in that they tell us what you're doing outside of the classroom. The things that matter to you are really what matter to us. And so there is no one right thing to be involved in. And even if you believe that there, are things you feel like you should be doing for certain academic interests you have, that is not necessarily true either. We really want you to get involved in the things that matter most to you. We're looking to see how you spend your time. So whether it's taking care of family or having some kind of leadership in a school club, or maybe you're doing volunteer work. Maybe you're passionate about your sports or your arts endeavors. However, you spend your time is what we'd like to see. And then your essays are those last kind of pieces. And it's really your voice. That's the only time we get to hear from you in your application. And we want to learn a little bit more about you. You'll submit a main kind of personal statement that will have a series of prompts for you to answer or choose from. And then we do also require a Why Duke essay that answers why you're interested in Duke and what is it really about Duke that is appealing to you, and how do you see yourself fitting in this community. Some optional things: standardized testing. We are optional for the 2024-2025 application year. Art supplements are also optional. If you'd like to submit an art supplement to us, you can check a box on your application to do so. These are evaluated by arts faculty, so not one of us, and they can't hurt your application. They're meant to be a place of support for us to understand some of the things that you're involved in. Interviews are also another optional piece. These are done through our alumni interviewers. You are not required to check that you would like an interview, but they are optional pieces for students that may choose to get one. And then Glimpse is the last kind of optional piece that we have. It is a 90-second recorded video for you to submit if you'd like to us. There is no real rules other than that these can't be pre-recorded. Glimpse won't let you. So share with us whatever it is you'd like to share. And utilize that time however you'd like. But these are optional. Again, we're pretty new to the Glimpse experience, so use it in the best way that makes sense for you. So what exactly are we looking for? We're wanting students who are engaging with different ideas, that are intellectually curious, that are interested in being challenged intellectually and personally, that are driven to make an impact. Students who are imaginative, creative, curious, and also a little bit fun. We want students who are open to different opportunities and are interested in being transformed. And that showcase of some kind of integrity, some kindness, and resilience. We want students who are going to come to Duke's campus and be able to take part in all of the wonderful things that I mentioned that we have here, and really try their best to make an impact and make things better. We want students who are driven to do good and that really see themselves being a fit and will maximize the opportunities that we have on campus. So we're looking for those qualities in your application as a way to kind of predict how you will engage with our larger campus community. Here are some key dates and deadlines for you that I kind of already mentioned a little bit. One thing I'll note is if you do choose to submit your testing, you'll note some of the last kind of days that you'll want to submit that for them to be able to be considered in our review. We can't promise that we'll see it after those dates, but just to give you a sense of that. We'll then move on to affording Duke and what that process looks like. I'll note I am not a financial aid counselor, so our processes are a little bit simpler. But what I do want you to know is that Duke is committed to making sure it is an affordable place for the students that we admit. We want students to be able to come here and not feel burdened by finances when they're choosing a school. So the primary way that we offer aid is through need-based aid, and you'll see that in the numbers that we have. We are a school that meets 100% of families' demonstrated financial need, which means when you apply and you utilize our financial aid platforms, the FAFSA and the CSS profile, they will give you back a number that is the expected number your family can contribute to your education. And we meet students where that number is. So we want to make sure that Duke is a place that you can afford. If you're curious about what it might look like for you, or you're trying to decide what decision to make, we have a net price calculator on our website that allows students to do a estimated guess of what this financial aid package may look like, but it tends to be really accurate. This is a great way to get a sense of how much Duke might cost for you and your family, especially if you're considering early decision and would like to know what that looks like before you make that commitment to us. But Duke students are graduating debt-free in a lot of ways. A lot of students are, and we do have a commitment to the students from the Carolinas as well. I will talk about that in a second, but I do want to briefly touch on gap year as well. It's another way for students to have some decisions that they make after they graduate. If they'd like to wait a year for all of these things, you will, apply to us normally, but you can defer kind of your year of starting at Duke. There are a good number of students that choose to participate in gap year. And the cool thing about our gap year program is it allows students to get some kind of funding to be able to participate in the things that they want to do, whether it's backpacking across the world or participating in a dance conservatory for a year. More information can definitely be found on dukegapyear.duke.edu. But if you're interested in taking a gap year and it piques your interest, I would say take a look at that. So lastly, I do want to let you know kind of what your return on investment is. So our students are graduating at super high rates. They are successful by the time that they graduate and are employed at incredibly high rates as well. And our students are doing really, really well. I mean, I believe in the liberal arts curriculum that we have and the wealth of opportunities available to students as being a key factor in why students are performing so well once they leave. But the advisors that we have on campus, whether it's the pre-professional, pre-health, pre-business, pre-law advisors on campus, the career center, and those career center advisors that help match students with internships and with jobs, and the people just in the Duke community itself that support students in their 4 years are a good number of the reasons why our students are so successful as well. You'll see here the Career Center has posted some employers that are top employers for students, but they are across all kinds of different fields. Students are hired at really high rates, and you'll see Duke on there as being a key and the number one kind of top employer that we have here for students. So lastly, that picture that we started with the confetti and the folks in the Duke shirts celebrating that I mentioned, Duke is always having some kind of celebration. This is that picture blown up. It was, moments before that picture was taken where students gathered together in their class year. You'll see the Duke Blue Devil kind of hiding in here as well. But it's a really special moment. The first time students are together, when they first arrive on campus, and really the last time they're all together until graduation. I still have this photo that I took in my class year hanging in my apartment, and it's a really special time to kind of come together and remember why we're all here. That is all I have to say for you all today. And I hope this was an informative and incredible experience for you visiting us virtually. We are so grateful that you have an interest in Duke. You can connect with us more at admissions.duke.edu. Find us on our website or at Discover Duke on social media. Use the QR code to learn a little bit more about us. And other than that, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye bye.